Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Don't let that name frighten you. I am Sister Kryon. I am Brother Kryon. Could it be that, as I said this morning, the room has been filled with an energy beyond expectations, coming from places you wouldn't understand? An energy that knows you so well that it touches your heart. No matter who you are or what your culture is, where you come from, the distance traveled makes no difference. It touches your heart. Because if I told you that you all have something in common, it would be beyond belief. Beyond belief. You all come from the same place. There is a commonality, there is a truth that says that you are all the same in a certain way. Home is the same for all of you. And perhaps that is what you feel as you come into this place, associating with human beings you'll never see again, and those which you will. What does that mean to you? The bonds that you build here. Do you understand the bridges that you create with the consciousness that you have? Did you know this is a place where love is generated? Did you know this is a place where it's safe to think differently? Did you know that? Oh, not all of you have come to see the spook show, you know. You're just enduring this time. I know who you are. And I'll tell you this, you are so loved for your patience. So loved for your patience. And did you know that there is not one guide or one angel or one individual on this side of the veil that I represent that's going to bother you if you walk out of this place and said, I don't care about this, I don't believe in this, he wasn't really channeling, you know. In disbelief you leave, and it changes nothing with the way this sister brother feels about you. Free choice it is when you're ready. If you're ready, you may choose to open that door of belief into the esoteric. Now, let me tell you how this is going to be structured, and these messages are going to occur in this night and the next. For this night, we are going to load up on the esoteric, and in the next night, we're going to load up on the physics and the astronomy. Very, very different kinds of channels. They are being given separately, but as Kryon's reality, they are being given simultaneously together. But for you, I say this, they are a pair of messages. And they should be considered that if you listen or read or hear one, be sure to hear the other. Like bookends, they balance one another. One, the most esoteric. One, the most scientific. For tomorrow I will do what I have not done in a very long time. I will give pure physics, pure science. I will explain some things to the limit of the allowance that Spirit gives to explain, giving hints about the way things work and why they work the way they do. Explaining some of the unexplainable things that astronomers see and some of the things that physics has totally and completely missed. Even rewriting some of the laws that you depend on. And tonight, it's for the woo-woo group. I knew you would like that. My partner told me to use that word. things that you're criticized the highest for. I know who's here. I know what some of you endure. Not all of you are from places that accept these kinds of things. Some of you have come totally and completely alone, knowing that when you go back, you can't really share this. And you'll want to take somebody aside and you say, I went someplace and I know I was touched. Somehow I was touched. I don't even know what touched me. I just know that I feel so good. I feel empowered to do things I never could do before. And I'm all by myself and I wish I could share it with you. And you can't do that, can you? Well, I'm going to set this up for you. If that is you, I would like to give you a message. It is not necessary that you share anything, really. Just go away joyful, healed, blessed, and you carry with you a consciousness and a light. And by your actions, you show your light to your family, to your workers, to your culture. Let that be your message. And you will. For that is the way of it. And it always has been. I must preface all of the esoterics by again walking you through the problems that we have from this side of the veil, coming into a three-dimensional existence, trying our best to give you interdimensional information. Since the very beginning of time, this particular universe has been set up so what you see is the singularity, the beginning. And you then are linear in your perception. This linearity of your perception guides what you believe is real and what you believe is unreal. And if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. And if you cannot see it, you cannot even talk about it. If you can't see it, there are many who say, it's foolish. It's foolish. Therefore, there are those who say, I choose to be linear. And some are here tonight. But you have a biased linearity, every single human in this place. I have told my partner to present linearity in the following way. That you are not aware of how crippled you truly are as three-dimensional linear human beings. You show up for a conference, a 7-hour day, where each speaker has to deliver the message to you one word at a time. And then there is your brain, which must listen one word at a time. It's like your entire reality is on this small little track as you move forward, as thin as a string. And you can't turn left and you can't turn right. Everything must be in a straight line. When you get a book, you read it in a linear fashion, one word at a time. Even those of you who are speed readers are reading one page at a time. It's still linear, hobbled. A quantum description would be those who can see the entire possibility, potential, and the message all at once, out of linearity. And you saw an example of that today. But in general, an interdimensional human experience is very rare. You're in 3D. Your life is lived in 3D. You'll walk away from this place one step at a time, 3D. And so therefore, when we speak of the esoteric things, there is little justification, for it does not justify in 3D. But for those of you who wish to cross the bridge with me tonight, I wish to talk about the most esoteric things in your belief system, and we will touch on many of them. And there's no science behind these things. Oh, but there are explanations that may someday turn into science. Such is the way of it. And there are those who say, I don't believe in anything unless I can see it. And so let me address that first. You got to see it. Yes, I do. Kryon, don't talk about odd things in the ethers. Don't talk about intuitive movement, which you call kinesiology. Don't talk about numerology. Don't talk about astrology. Don't talk about past lives to me. Don't talk about Lemurians in the mountain to me. I can't see them. They don't exist. Okay. While you're thinking about that, Mr. 3D, let's talk about air. Sorry it doesn't exist, aren't you? Let's talk about gravity. Fallen down lately? Oh, I'm sorry it doesn't exist. What about magnetism? What about love? Oh, there's a palatable one, isn't there? The love between a mother, a daughter, a son. Two human beings look in each other's eyes at the altar, promising love. It's invisible, isn't it? And you can cut it with a knife. It's part of your human experience. I'm giving you your human experience. I'm trying to cross the bridge with you. Invisible things exist all around you, and you take them for granted, but they're part of your reality in 3D. Somehow you've justified it, haven't you? Air is too small to see. Love is an emotion, it's felt, not seen, that's okay. Gravity and magnetism, well, we just won't talk about those now, will we? It's all around you. It always has been. One of the most difficult things to speak about, and we are going to do it, is one that does not answer many questions, but it shows the singularity and the linearity of one of the most basic things you deal with. What is truth? Oh, good. Kryon's going to tell us what truth is. I'll define it. And you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. Truth is the attribute of when the human heart marries the love of God. And the result is passion for your spiritual path. And those of you who had this experience know your truth, don't you? And you will say, this is my truth. And how do you feel when it isn't someone else's? But they may have theirs as well, and it may be just as passionate for their marriage to the love of God. And what they see in their potentials and what they do, and the actions which they have, the integrity which they hold for spirit, the directions that they move because of the truth that they have. Kryon, are you about to tell us that there are many truths? Oh, more than that. Oh, yes. Many truths. There's got to be one. There has to be one. Oh, on your string of 3D, you may say there must be one. And there are many who would say theirs is the truth and you are wrong. And you may say yours is the truth and they are wrong. Consider this for a moment. What if there were multiple realities of truth that all led to the same place? Would you be okay with that? For that is the way it works. Oh, please, there must be one truth. I already gave it to you. You want the truth? You want the one singularity of truth? I will give it to you. You're all connected. And past that, my dear human friend, I am telling you, these connections are like the spokes of the hub of a wheel. There are trillions of them, and they all lead to the center, and they're all called truth. And whatever gets you there. And some would say, I don't like that. And I say to you, oh, how 3D of you. Let's talk about food. The sustenance of life is food. The sustenance of your spiritual growth is your truth. It is your passion. What are you going to do based upon the truth that you have that is the marriage of you and your higher self? What are you going to do? That's your truth. If I told you there was only one kind of food, what would you say? You wouldn't like that either. No, you're all going to have to stop eating what you're eating and change, because there's only one food. And you'd say, that doesn't work. That's ridiculous. That's silly. And I'm saying to you, it is the same kind of attribute when it comes to spiritual truth. Now here's what you got to look at. I have just told you that there is a truth for every human being in the room. It is isolated and separate and unique. And yet go figure this out. That when you get together, somehow those truths meld toward one purpose, don't they? There's a commonality in this, what we call quantum effect of connection. There's a commonality, and you can call it the love of spirit if you wish. A commonality where the truth of the day is manifest in front of you, and you're okay with that. And together you see one thing, because in the connection between the truths, there is a similarity, and that similarity is the love of God. That higher self you have, that you claim to have, that esoteric thing, seems to straighten it all out. There is your singularity. There is your beginning. There is your end. That's what truth is. Does it bother you now? As you sit here in this esoteric place, and I tell you that there are a legion of consciousnesses around you, some of those which you call those you've loved and lost on this planet. Some of you say they're guides, and some will say they're angels, and none of you are really right. They're outside the purview of your conscious understanding in 3D. And they are here. Now, you can't see them, but you can feel them, like you feel the love of the parents that are either alive or not alive. They are still here. We speak of precious things. There are those in this room who have had experiences with those you've loved and lost. There's nothing like losing a child, is there? You don't think I know who's here? 3 of you have gone through this experience. I know your names, dear ones. You're sitting there. I know who you are. I know how far you've come. I know what's on your mind. And I just want to hug you tonight and say, isn't it wonderful that the children that you lost are sitting on your lap? That's esoteric. And you can feel it, can't you? Because so many of you know that's your reality. That's your truth. In a quantum state you are with all life, no matter what you think happened to it. The spark that was the consciousness of a human being remains the spark of the soul. It always was, it always will be, it always is. And for a while it manifests itself as a human being for the test of the planet, or whatever you wish to call this here. And when it leaves here, it's still there. In a quantum state, it invites you to join it. In a quantum state, communication is like that. Maybe it's time you got out of the sorrow, I know who's here, and started understanding truly what is here, the invisible things. Let us talk about intuitive motion. Medicine does not like this, that there are light workers using their own bodies to test the chemicals and the foods that they should put in them. You call it kinesiology. It's called muscle testing. Somehow, some way, your body is supposed to know beyond your brain or your intellect what's good for you and what's bad for you, you see. And so therefore you see many light workers walking around doing these kinds of testings. And then the others look at them and they go, that is the silliest thing I've ever seen. What are they doing? Now let's put it into perspective. Think of this for a moment. What's your biology designed to do? My partner, I want you to go slow on this one. If you had a disease in your body, let us pretend it was something like a cancer, and it's present in you right now. Oh, intellectual one, the brains who are the top of the evolutionary ladder, how come it is you don't know it? Why don't you know it? Aren't you tuned into the cellular structure of every cell? Shouldn't it be yelling to you? Shouldn't your brain be getting the messages that something is growing inside you that's not only inappropriate, that might even cause your death? How come you don't know it? I will tell you that this is designed this way, for your body is about survival, and it will go into survival mode. And if it knows this, and if it tells you this, and if there were a pathway, a neural pathway to your brain to inform you every time this took place, you would go into anxiety. No, you're kept from it. A total and complete block. How's that for being the top of the evolutionary ladder? You could be carrying it around with you and discover it accidentally too late. Doesn't seem like it's fair, does it? But the cellular structure knows all about it. Every cell knows what's going on, and your brain does not. So you have then a subconscious that is working these things. Perhaps for months, there have been the kinds of cells that fight this, going to meet the battle every day, and you walk around having no idea. So a system is there that would take the innate knowledge of what is going on in your cellular structure and give it to you that is beyond the intellectual, and it is called kinesiology. Try it. Your body will give you information if you ask it in ways that go around the intellect. It is real. It is practiced by many. It is also the same process used for what you have called the pendulum. Your fingers grasp the pendulum on the end of the chain or the string, and which direction it goes helps you to decide what to do for yourself. And those who see you do it run the other way, don't they? You must be some part of an evil cult. Imagine that. Try it. What is going on there is literally the muscles of the fingers, beyond your ability to understand or control them as you try to hold them still, are trying to give you a message, swinging the pendulum one way or the other. It's innate intelligence trying to go around your intellect through your muscles. And it works. What would you think of a medical doctor whipping out his pendulum for answers every time he went? Well, guess what? Yai is here, and he does that, and he's right here. Sorry to embarrass you, Yai. Innate intelligence in the human cellular structure. Could it be this is all part of the connection? When a medical intuitive, a good one, is involved in reading your medical condition, that is what goes on. In a quantum state, literally, he or she is reading this message which your intellect cannot tell you because you're in survival. Use it if you dare. And find out what's going on. What's best for you? What kind of food are you allergic to? All of these things, your body knows them. Let's move to another one. Astrology. Unfortunately, I cannot talk to you about astrology tonight because it's not esoteric. It's extremely scientific. And so I will postpone the astrology till tomorrow. I will give you the physics of it, how it works, why it works. Take the magic right out of it. Some of you might not like that, but you'll know why. And to some of you, it's going to make sense. To some of you, it will make sense. I wish to broach a subject that is so difficult. It is so esoteric. The 3D part of you must suspend itself completely for this explanation to even come close to being succinct. If I'm going to tell you how numerology works, I'm going to have to tell you about the other side of the veil. I'm going to have to tell you about an interdimensional state of quantumness, which represents the way it is when you're not here. In this string that you're on that is linear, a time frame that is so limiting, you cannot stop the clock. It keeps going. You cannot reverse it. It only goes in one direction. And you're always moving. You can't stop. You can't go forward at another speed. You cannot go backwards at all. What a limitation. Imagine now going to a place where there is no time at all. And in this place where there is no time at all, there is a tremendous amount of confusion, it appears, because everything looks random. And instead of a reality that you have of a three-dimensional existence, consciously what you see is every potential possible for you and your neighbor and everyone on the planet, all together in one place. There is no timeline put upon any of them. Therefore, not only are the potentials there of what you might do even after you leave this meeting, but the potentials of what you used to do in what you call the past, and all the potentials that were there that you missed or did not go on or not do, all together in one place. Can you imagine something that is so chaotic? And you sit and you look at this and it looks so confusing, so confusing. And all you say is, I want to get back to the string where it was simple. This is the quantum state. And to you, as you cross the bridge, even marginally into that quantum state, it looks chaotic. Incredibly chaotic. Because there are no rules, apparently. There's no system, apparently. Because they don't follow what you would expect in 3D. Now, do they? They're not simple. There have been studies, and I give this as an example, of those humans which were born sightless. And they spend their lives growing up with a completely different kind of a reality than you might have. For all of their lives, they are concerned with what they can see through their ears. The reflections off of the walls. What they can feel through the cane in their hand. And the entire reality they have of movement is limited to only what they can touch with the cane and the reflections they can hear with their ears as they move from one place to another. It is their reality. Imagine such a thing. Everything is based around no more than 1 meter around you. 1 meter. And past that 1 meter, it is irrelevant. And past that 1 meter, it is not part of survival. Therefore, it doesn't exist until you get to it, you see. That's the sightless person. Now, science has reported that some of these sightless people, through miracles of your own science, have been allowed to see, and they have full vision. And so many of them have said, "Take me back to where I was." Because suddenly when they are able to see, they can see beyond 1 meter. They can see to the horizon, and it is chaotic. And color. No such thing in their life as color. And instead of it being so refreshing and so beautiful, it sears the retinas of their eyes and tells their brain to be afraid, you see. And the studies have shown that they've asked to put on patches so they will not have to deal with such a chaotic world. And so it is, the 3D individual, when they go across that veil, and it looks like chaos, and it is not. And let me now explain some things about this chaos. Even your best scientists in the early days, when they started to broach the possibility of this quantum state being in the universe as the reality of it, they objected. They yelled and they shouted. They shouted phrases like, "My God cannot be a chaotic God. I will not be part of a system which is chaotic. It's not the way the universe works. There must be a system. There must be a plan. There has to be laws." And they're right. And now we say to you that in what appears to be the quantum confusion, there are beautiful colors. There is a system, and it has to do with vibration. Anything that vibrates, anything that you can count, sets up potentials which are marked, very difficult to explain. My partner, get this right. Marked potentials. These are potentials which are more apt to be biased to go toward because there's a vibration around them as opposed to one that does not vibrate. There are strings of vibration that are beautiful, that are between all of the potentials. There are strings between what appears to be chaos between one person and another, how they meet, what they do, the love they might have for another, what you call coincidence. It's all there. It's beautiful. You should see the colors. And you say, there are no accidents. And there will be those who will run away from you and say, that is the silliest thing I ever heard. There are no accidents. Of course there are accidents. No, they're not. No, they're not. I wouldn't call it necessarily what you call planning, but there is organization. It's beautiful. Look back. What brought you here? Are you having an epiphany? Is there something going on? There is. I know who's here. And you think that's an accident? Oh my, what a coinky dinky. That I wandered into this meeting. No. What brought you to the chair? That's what I'm talking about. That's not an accident. There's a system going on. And you ought to sit every time you see 11:11 on the clock. What a coincidence. And I'm not talking about those of you who cheat. I know who you are. It's 11:10, isn't it? You pretend that Spirit didn't know you saw it. You tap your toe for a minute and then you get excited. It's 11:11. That's not what I'm talking about. Some of you are seeing this magic number. Do you know what 11 is in numerology? It is enlightenment. 2 ones together, each one meaning a new beginning. Together, a master number, enlightenment. Enlightenment. It is the sign of the age. It is the number of the age. Numerology is a vibration. And when you look at it in significance, and you see what the numbers might mean in your life, in the various systems that you have developed around them, pay attention. Pay attention to that tarot spread, which some have said is the work of the devil. You're going to lay cards out and they're going to tell you what to do. That's not what it is. It's nothing to do with fortunes. Listen, if you are only hearing this for the first time, let me tell you what this is. This esoteric to the max. The tarot spread is a beautiful, intuitive way of straightening out the chaos for a moment, just for a moment, to see some of the things in your life through this system I'm talking about. It helps you understand you better for the moment so that you can move forward with more intelligence than just your intellect, you see. What a beautiful system this is. Esoteric. Take it or leave it. Numerology is the system, the ancient system of gematria. Think about this. Been around a long time, it has, where you can assign numbers to Hebrew characters. And who was doing that? And why should a thing like that exist? After all, it's not the New Age. Could it be that the ancients knew something that you're just discovering? Could it be they knew about the numbers and they were using them all along? The scientist Greg Braden knows all about that. Numerology is real. And so there are those who say, using numerology, we must be having something going on in September of this year. For this is a year of 2007. It's a 9 numerologically. The vibration represents the end, completion, a wrapping up. Next to it is the next year, which is 2008, which is a 1. This represents, of course, starting over. Singularity, new beginnings. Every 9 years, this occurs. You have a 9 and a 1. That's just math. Oh, but who has put together the 9-year cycles? Drawn the numbers together and seen what has happened in them or the potentials around them. Let me just give you a hint. The last time it happened, you were within 1 year of the prediction of the Armageddon that you did not experience. Did you notice this? There's always the potential for shift. To complete one thing, to start another, and here you are. In the 9th year, you say, well, there's got to be something that would happen then in the 9th month of the 9th year, and that is September. And there are a number of dates within that which would also be a 9. For instance, the 9. Perhaps the 18th. Perhaps the 27th. So, Kryon, what's going to happen on that day? I won't tell you what's going to happen. I want to tell you what's going to happen. And some of you may be tuned into the esoteric, and some of you may be simply walking along and not caring. But I'll tell you what's going to happen. That is a day all over this earth, whichever day it is, that will be celebrated. It is a day of tremendous celebration of shift. Don't fear these things. Numerology tells you what the intellect does not. It gives you hints about your own earth, about your track and what you're doing. Why don't you take that day and get together with a group? Why don't you take that day and celebrate the fact that you are heading toward 2012? Just like the Mayans said, a time of enlightenment, a vibrational pattern that they saw over thousands of years where the vibration of the planet went up and down and up and down. That's what they were doing in their observatories as they looked at the sun and they looked at the moon and they had the esoterics down. The vibrational shifts of the earth is what they were plotting, and they did. In this 9th year, in the 9th month, and on a 9-day, take a time and say, thank you that I am here, that I am alive, and that I can make a change on this planet, in myself, in my health, and the love of my family. Thank you that I can be a lighthouse, for this was not the plan when you were growing up, you know. Something changed it. Just go take a look at the prophecies of Nostradamus. You know, there are no more. Not really. You changed and shifted and turned a corner. That's numerology. Oh, the big one. Oh, how can anyone be so foolish to believe in past lives? There is absolutely no evidence. There never will be. It's invisible, you know. How can you hang on to such a premise of past lives? You will not hear proof from this chair. You either have it intuitively and the knowledge is there or not. And we say to you, what is it that has guided your personality so that you will come in so different from your sister, from your brother, from the same parents? What made you so unique? What gave you the phobias that nobody expected you would have, for you had no life experience for them? What made you want to do certain things? Why was the artist the artist? Is this all random? Or could there be a system in the quantumness of the potentials that I have described? Is it possible that you have lived before? The answer is you have. The answer is many times. The answer is that those who would come to a gathering like this are very aware of it. Old souls come together to learn these things. Old souls are attracted to these things. Old souls are in the room. Now I'll give you some information about past lives that maybe you have not heard before that you need to know. For this is the least understood part of the human being. He does not serve your magnificence to know who you've been or what you've done. It gets in the way of your life lesson, it does. It is a distraction, it is. And so therefore it is well concealed and well hidden. But there is a purpose for this. I will give you a number of facts, and I would like to tell you that these things are precious. This is precious information. This isn't just esoteric rules. There's a system here. Everything you have learned spiritually in any lifetime on this planet is collective. It is stored in a place that goes right into your DNA at an esoteric level in an interdimensional state when you are born, and you pick it up whether you use it or not. You never have to go back. You never have to learn things again. Everything that you've learned this time around sticks and stays for the next time. Did you know that? And all you have to do is open the jar with free choice. Did you know that? And out pours the wisdom of the ages. And the teachers that you would see walk the stage have done that before, because they've lived it and they've been there and they've done that. And they know. And it's not a product of a few years on the earth. It's a product of millennia. That's the truth. Let me give you another one. You have a friend and you don't even know. This thing called the higher self. which you can't really even define. It's a piece of you. It's a piece of God. What is it? You say it's an interdimensional part of the system is what it is. It's part of the chaos, but don't tell it that. And it is something that has a commonality to every single past life you had. You see, you come in with the same higher self every single time. It's been with you every time. Same higher self. Think about that for a moment. What does that mean? And an interdimensional state, let me give you another question. Is it really a past life when there is no time? What is it? It's a current life, isn't it? Everything you have learned is accumulation of who you are as you walk this planet. Wise old soul, you may not feel like you're filled with wisdom, but some of you know what I'm speaking of. You are. The street smarts of the universe, and you got them. And you know it, and it's intuitive. You can't quite touch it, but you know it. It's intuitive. This higher self knows every single human being you've been. And it's not in a row, and it's not in a line. It's on, for you, a flat table, a disc. They're all there together. And what we have taught before and what we'll teach again, and what nobody realizes, is that those of you who wish to can reach and take the best part of any one of them and apply it to your current life, for that's why they're there, dear human being. Did you know that? They're not past at all. An awakening of a human being is one who reaches into the Akash and picks up the wisdom, who picks up the orator, who picks up the teacher, who picks up the passion of the love of God, the priest, the nun, the one who is passionate. It's all there. They pick it up as they go, and it changes who they are, what they do, and their truth on this planet. Those are the facts of the past lives. That's why they exist. Human population is a geometric progression. Therefore, there's only a few of you, truly, who started this planet. And we got a lot of those few of yous tonight. Who would come to a place like this? I'm almost done. I have two more I want to present to you. Who would believe such a thing? Kryon, I believe in past lives. I believe in kinesiology. I even believe in numerology, for I've seen it work. All these things are okay with me. But I'm having a real hard time with those Lemurians in the mountain. All right, I want you to put this together with me. I want you to suspend belief for a moment. You can snap back to 3D in about 15 minutes. Take it out for a minute. There are those who say that God is eternal. Whatever God means to you, source, spirit, intelligent creator of the universe, intelligent design, whatever that is. They say that God is eternal. God always was. God always will be. God can be in many places at the same time. They say that. God can be having a conversation with you right now. Another place, God's having another conversation. Wow. Who must God be that can do that? Obviously, God's in a quantum state. Oh, yes, must be. At some level, God is meeting every soul who is passing over right now. Every minute, all the souls. At some level, God is greeting all the newborns every minute. Every place on the planet. What a God. Everywhere, all at the same time, ageless. Without any time, God is in the future, God is in the past. What an attribute. But now, if you even dare apply that to a creature who used to live on a planet. You say, no, that's silly. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Are you starting to get where I'm going with this? Human beings who learned to put themselves in a quantum state are human beings who became timeless, and the reason they did it was so they could put themselves in a time capsule of vibratory change. And if this earth ever made it past the crux to the Armageddon, which you did, and moved into the promise of 2012, which you are doing, that time capsule would open and spill its wisdom upon this planet. That's what they did, because they have God in their DNA, just like you do. Not too spooky now, is it? Think about this. Who are they? They're just like you. In love with humanity. So much that they saw some things coming that would curtail their race. Put themselves in this interdimensional state. You say, well, they've waited a long time. Ask them. To them, it's just like they had lunch yesterday in Lemuria. In a timeless state, there is no time to tick off the clock. All they did was cross the street, and here you are. Well, what is it about the mountain? Indeed, is it a symbol of the collection point that they chose? It's only a collection point. For I will give you this information as I have every single time I've sat on this stage with my partner, and I'll say, invitation is open. Take a Lemurian home with you. Why don't you just... This is all a metaphor for those entities who have lived before in ancient times, who had high technology in their cellular structure. They were in a quantum state. They knew about the planets. They knew about biology. They knew about DNA. One of them is here, Yahi. They sang songs about him. That's why he resounds every time he comes here, and they sing songs to him. Why is it that this medical doctor, who has done already so much for this planet, why is it that he has moved into a place where all he wants to do is stand on stage and sing to you? I want you to think about this. Why would such a thing be? Because it's innate and intuitive to his Lemurian nature. For his songs are interdimensional, and you only hear the residual in his vocal cords, and we've said that before. And it puts out an energy which actually is like a searchlight. And when he does it, you feel it. You feel it. To some, it's just funny sounds. Others, it's life-changing. That's esoteric. Finally, we close. Kryon, I'm having a hard time with God. That's pretty esoteric. Where is God? We want God to be with us so much. We want God to come down, straighten out this planet. Oh, we want peace so much. Is there God? What evidence is there? Well, go ask your astronomers who put it together. They're scratching their heads right now. What is intelligent design? Oh, they're not about to say the G word. God. But they'll say everything else. There's a system, they'll say. Maybe it's not as random as we thought, they'll say. Anything but God. You know what the human does as soon as they're old enough to? They search for the Creator. Did you know that? They search for the Creator. It's almost like an indictment that something's going on when over 85% of the planet has a religion. They want to find the Creator. They want to find the source. They want to capture it. Some of them want to put it into a building. They're happy just to know it's there so they can visit it. And the rest of you, you want to find it inside. And it's there. It's there. You want to know if God is real? Do you have the courage alone to sit down and say, "Dear God, I want to know if you're here or not. In pure intent, I ask you to show me." You have the guts to do that? That's when you don't sleep all night. Because that's when the angels that have been standing next to you your whole lifetime, you've given them permission to proceed. Permission for the light to proceed. Permission for healing to proceed. To become partly interdimensional, to visit a quantum state of belief, to live longer, to be more peaceful, to create peace in your land, to have it move in ways that you cannot even believe are possible, through a quantum intelligence which literally carries your thoughts and your prayers to where they should go. You see, it's part of the system that so many have said is chaotic, and it is not. Oh, it's beautiful, it's loving. You can see the strings as they vibrate, all with purpose, not chaotic, and with intent. You can control them, creating your own truth, creating your own reality, creating a life very different than the one you thought you had. That's the esoterics. That's the message of Kryon. Tomorrow we'll talk about physics. Tonight we talk about the love of God. And that is my message through this clear channel who sits in this chair. We're not leaving the building. You are. When you come back tomorrow, we'll all still be right here. And so it is.